Hey guys, what's up? Green Machine Sam back with another video, and of course with the NBA draft just happening yesterday and the day before. I am recording this on the night of the second round. The second round is just about to wrap up, and so I've been working on the roster. Now, I haven't gotten into it as fast as I had wanted to. Had to stay extra long at work and so on and so forth, so I just didn't have the time to really be able to get the roster started or really completed all that much. And I haven't really updated since the last video, even with some of the free agency stuff happening and players being able to accept and decline their options, as well as players being able to extend earlier this season, because of the new rule of NBA teams being allowed to negotiate with their own free agents or with any of their own players right after the finals had concluded. It has changed a little bit of how how free agency is going to go. Now, free agency does start on the 30th. Today is the 27th, so it starts in just under 3 days. It starts the 30th at 6 p.m. Eastern time, and then everybody is officially allowed to sign their contracts. You can negotiate with teams on the 30th. You just can't sign your contracts until July 6th. I think it's at like 1 p.m. Eastern, so you can negotiate with your contract. So even if you do see somebody agree to terms on a contract, they probably will not have signed their contract until July 6th, which means they could still back out of their deal. So if you see anybody switching up and leaving their contract, that is why. I do want to get a couple things out of the way. First and foremost, there is some stuff that isn't always particularly 100% accurate with the roster, whether it's contract money, just because 2K doesn't give me the full capabilities. Now, don't get me wrong, 2K probably gives you the best ability to edit players out of any fucking game. MLB gives you a lot of leeway in editing players. Madden gives you next to none. But 2K gives you a fucking shit ton. Now, of course, they still leave some stuff where you cannot edit, but they still give you very big capabilities to be able to edit players and so on and so forth. This is a PS5 exclusive roster. Sorry to anybody that is on Xbox or is on PC. This is a PS5 exclusive roster. You do have to be online and connected to the 2K servers to download the roster. There's no way I can send you a Steam file. It's a PS5 exclusive roster. Hopefully everybody understands that as best as possible. I put a lot of time into this roster so far. Not everything's going to be 100% correct. You might not agree with everything that I do, and that's fine, but you have to understand this is my roster. Once you download it, you can easily go in and change stuff that you don't particularly agree with, whether it's overalls, whether it's, whatever. You can go change stuff. Some of the players will have weird looking jersey numbers or will just have a random jersey number. I'm going to kind of try to wait until players really pick out their jersey numbers for me to really be passing out jersey numbers. Now, of course, if the jersey number that they wore in college or whatever, or their most recent jersey number, whether they were over in Europe or whatever jersey number they were wearing, if it was available, I tried to get it to them if I could. But that being said, let's get into things and let's get things started. First and foremost, like I said, you do have to be connected, and then you will be on PS5. This is 2K23, so this is a PS5 exclusive roster. You want to head over to Features, go to Create Roster, NBA Modern Current User Created Roster. So the roster picker, go to User Created, and then push triangle on your controller. Search by online ID. Do not search by the roster name because it's only going to bring up the one roster, and if for some reason something happens, it's just easier to look at my user online ID, which is Green Machine Sam. So bang, S-A-M, boom, Green Machine Sam. I should have it in bigger capitalization letters at the bottom. You do not need any special characters, any spaces, any numbers, no capitalization needed, no special characters like I said. Then go ahead and push the start button on your controller, and it should bring up all my files. Now, the first 6 are going to be the ones that you want. Now, last video we talked about how 3 of them were different than the other 3. They are all completely the same now. There is no difference in between the 6 rosters. So go ahead and download whichever one you want. It does not really matter which one you grab. The name is just up to you for the most part. 2K servers, when downloading and uploading rosters, kind of finicky. So if anything ever does happen, just try again, try a different file. It seems to work out. Like, I have troubles uploading one of the files, so I'll possibly, rename it and stuff like that. I have went ahead and released everybody that is a guaranteed free agent. So the 76ers, who lost a lot of their, players on contract, are in free agency, okay? So, And then they drafted Jared McCain. So he is. And then, of course, the Milwaukee Bucks drafted A.J. Johnson. Now, for the most part, I'm going with whatever position was on both the NBA draft boards as well as what was on the draft tracker I was using. So if it says point guard for two of them, I'm going to give them point guard. Now, contracts for these guys are also kind of varying, and sometimes if players' ages do get fucked up, they will have to be 19 for a year. It just is how it is. If they're currently 18, it's just kind of hard to get to that situation right there. But their money is all based off of speculation in years past, as well as increases to the salary cap and so on and so forth. So some of their contracts won't be 100% correct. Once 2K25 does come out, I'll go ahead and get those updated, and you guys will have the full contracts and everything. But like I said, free agents in, and then of course Josh Giddey going to the Bulls, and probably one of the biggest changes so far. Matt, I don't remember how to say his last name. He's here. You have Jalen Tyson. Some of the players, I will say, the ones that I had to create because community files didn't have them or whatnot, or just I had a handful. There was about 6 or so guys that I went in and personally made because I didn't like how some of the other ones were how the community files were showing up. So I went in and made them. What I do is I pick a player. So this one was DJ Wilson, former Houston Rocket and Milwaukee Buck. He kind of matched the hairstyle as well as the facial features, and then of course the tattoos of Jalen Tyson a little bit. Not the tattoo designs, but having tattoos on one of his arms. So I did just go ahead and edit over him. Now you may be like, well, that's unfair to that player. What if he gets signed to an NBA team this season? I try to pick guys that more than likely aren't going to get signed to an NBA team, as well as the fact that I can just go into a different roster and grab them and be able to bring them back as soon as I need them if they do sign to a team. And then I kind of imported attributes over them based on, NBA comparisons to other players who, some of these guys are expected to turn out like. So I went with the best one that I possibly could, and so on and so forth. Baylor Shearman here to the Boston Celtics, pick 30. Hopefully I got everybody in the correct positions. Now, of course, there are some things that do happen. If you've never really paid attention to the NBA, draft night is fucking crazy. A player could get drafted at pick like 47, and then once pick 50 comes up, he could get traded off to a different team for a different player that's getting drafted at 50, as well as picks, just because the teams don't, for whatever reason, right? So there's a lot of different stuff. Now, of course, I did make overalls a little less than I had in previous years. The depth is there, I think. I definitely made the depth a little bit better this year. They didn't drop down to 70s by the end of the first round. They dropped down to 71s, I think, at the very end, the last 2 picks. But the top end talent, I don't think is there. So those guys will not be as top heavy. Zach Edey here for the Memphis Grizzlies, of course. Then, of course, you have the first round pick, or the first overall pick in Zachary Rizaker. I have no idea how to fucking say this dude's name. I didn't watch the draft, at least with sound or anything, so I don't know how to say a whole ton of players' names that had come out of this draft, at least guys that are very weird. Kel Ware here going to the Miami Heat as well, and so on and so forth. Reggie Jackson going to the Hornets, getting traded. I would fucking hate that, opting into your contract and the team immediately going, no thank you, and trading you off is kind of bullshit. The Hornets got their guy, of course, Cody Williams and Isaiah Collier going to the Jazz, and then like I said, I do not have the second round rookies in yet. I plan on getting most of them done, if not all of them. Now, of course, there are some teams kind of like the Hornets who have already hit their 15-man limit. Now, of course, I'm expecting them to probably cut guys like Davis Bertans if they don't plan on using him, and Reggie Jackson, as well as maybe a couple others. But for now, I do not have roster room for them. So, and the likelihood of a second round pick even making the NBA roster, let alone being worth anything and not being a two-way player, is very, very unlikely. Second round picks are virtually useless. I would say, if you really want to compare it to the NFL, the first 10 picks are like the first round in the NFL. The second 10 picks are like the second round of the NFL. The last 10 picks of the first round are like the third round of the NFL, and so on and so forth for the next 10 picks or so. Now, of course, there were only 58 draft picks this year because of tampering stuff, So there is that. And then, of course, the only other really big move, Mikal Bridges going to the New York Knicks. So he is on that team for now. For the next season. Dalton Connect there. Then you have, of course, Pacome. I'm not even going to try to say that last name. Tristan Da Silva going to the Magic, of course. You have the Nuggets picking up Darren Holmes after the Suns picked him and then traded him to them. I still don't understand how a lot of this stuff works in the NBA in terms of, drafting a player and then trading them off. It's very weird, especially considering, how the NFL does it and stuff. When you really look at how different the leagues are, it kind of gets very weird. There's a lot of people in this draft class that I just don't know how to pronounce their name. Ron Holland, of course, an easier one. He's going to the Detroit Pistons. I think they'll have a pretty good 1, 2, 3 there. Of course, the Raptors ended up, re-signing Scotty Barnes to a rookie extension, and then they got a couple different players in trades, Sasha and Davion Mitchell, and then they picked up Jacoby Walter there. The Rockets ended up getting AJ Griffin from the Hawks, as well as the picking up Reed Shepherd, so he is there. So it went 79 and then 78. So first pick was 79, second pick and third pick were 78. You can look at all the overalls down below if you really want to know where a player is. If you're like, hey, I can't find this guy on the team, just scroll down in the description. It should give you a list of what picks for what overalls. So hopefully you can find them a little bit easier and stuff like that. But I'm not going to go over the whole roster. I'm going to let you guys go check it out if you guys want to go download it. Like I said, PS5 exclusive roster. If there's anything major wrong with the roster, let me know, and I'll try to fix it as soon as possible. Now, of course, I do have other stuff going on, so I'm not going to be able to fix it right away. But I'll try to fix it relatively fast, I'll say. I'm not going to be able to, I'm not going to speed home and hop on the game and immediately push a roster update out. But if there's something definitely wrong with the roster, I'll go ahead and get it. Now, I will say one thing. I don't know when the deadline was for player options and team options to be picked up. I would assume it's probably a day or so before. I would assume it's probably, at least a day before free agency period begins. So I would assume players have a very limited time of whether or not they're going to pick up their player option or decline it at this point. But if any of those guys do end up accepting or declining their options, or the team ends up accepting or declining options, I will fix those when I get a chance. I'll either release them or they will just stay on the team, of course. Now, of course, if somebody does something after this video comes out and after this video is recorded, which is, 11 o'clock at night on the 27th, it's not going to be updated in the video, but it might be updated on the roster. I will say this, just because I don't update the video, just because I don't go make a new video every single time I make a roster update, doesn't mean it's not updated. It just means go look. If you see that it has not been updated, you can definitely post something in the comments. But give me some time. I'll get everything caught up. Like I said, I got the second rounders. I did go ahead and tweet this out. I got the second rounders to still do, but I'm going to go ahead and get caught up on NBA 2K24 for anybody that's still playing 2K, that's plans on playing 2K24 instead of 2K23. I know there's still plenty of people playing 2K23. I personally prefer 2K23 at this point. I think I'm just going to wait, and then I'll just hop all the way to 2K25 when I get a chance. But with that being said, guys, if you guys enjoy this roster or any videos here on the channel, I would appreciate it if you guys do stick around and subscribe. I'll be back with more videos like this. I'll be out with hopefully a 2K24 video by the 29th. This hopefully will be going up on the 28th. And then I have a couple other videos planned that I do need to get content for, but I do have, scripts recorded and stuff like that, or just, information parts that I do need to get done. But, like I said, if you guys enjoy this roster, please stick around and subscribe. I'll be back with more reviews like this. Of course, we'll have a shit ton of videos coming out as free agency goes on and so forth, especially for the NBA. And then, of course, the NBA free agency period is going to lead right into the NCAA. The NCAA be able to start playing through that and stuff. And then, of course, that will be, a month-long process. And then Madden will come out, and then 2K will come out. So, over the next couple months, I should have plenty of content coming out. I don't know how much 2K content I'm actually going to be doing. I might just be focusing on NCAA and Madden. But, with that being said, like I said, if you guys enjoy the roster, please show your support. Leave a like, leave a comment. Tell me what you think of your draft, of your team's drafting abilities in this year's draft. Did they hit a successful home run? Do you think they stunk it up? Maybe some of the trades that they made or something along that nature. what did you think of the draft in a whole? With that being said, I'm out. Peace.